This is the Bionicle Inspiration Series, a series where we cover the builds of the community to get you inspired for what you want to build next. My name is Ben Cossey. Welcome! Today, we're going to be covering a requested theme of guns. All the pew-pew lasers and the things that people seem to love. So, may as well just get right into it, actually. Normally, you'd think I'd have more to say in the introduction, but not today. Not today. Alright, the first mock we have today is by DeJoxon, and it's called Heartstopper. So this is really, really cool. I really like what he's done with the gun here. A lot of it's made out of system, and I always talk about system. I use system in your Bionicle mocks. You already know if you've watched these before. So there, look, he uses a system. Looks great, great shaping as a result. Awesome. Something that I think is genius though is he's used a sticker there, which I believe that's from the Breakout Hero Factory sets, and that's like one of the little cockpit stickers. Surprisingly, Bionicle sets never really had stickers in them. You know, like Tuma, I think, was one of the only ones that I can remember, and then a couple other things like that from Hero Factory sets and stuff. And I guess some of the G2 sets have stickers in them as well. But besides the point, I think stickers are a really, really cool thing to use. You know, that gun would look pretty cool without the sticker. I'm not going to deny, like, it's a very nicely built gun. But adding that little sticker there really adds a nice touch to it. I find that a lot when I'm building system, is that I can build something and then I'll add a whole bunch of stickers on it, or even just a couple, and then it drastically improves it. Because, you know, there's some sticker sheets that kind of give like scuff marks and scratches and things like that, or even just logos or like caution symbols and things like that. And adding that onto a mock could get a really cool aesthetic and just look awesome. So definitely save some of the stickers that you buy from sets and see if maybe you can use it in a mock at some point. I myself, I never put stickers on sets because ultimately I'm just going to take them apart and then I've got a sticker stuck on a piece that I need to use and I just eventually will take it off. And in taking it off, sometimes they're still sticky, but sometimes it just ruins it. So I got a whole like drawer full of stickers that every time I build something, I just sort of look through and kind of go, oh, actually, that might work. And sometimes the, you know, least expected things are actually some of the best stickers to use. So that's awesome. You know, you're building a sand green mock and suddenly you're like, oh, I have all these sand green stickers I didn't know about. Oh, hey, I can put this on. So that always works. Something I like about this gun is it's decently similar to a real life gun. It does sort of have a bit of a video game flair to it, and I think it's really cool. But as I recommended in the last episode, I definitely think that, or did I recommend in the last episode? Oh, when am I going to post this? Oh, anyway, definitely take a look at actual real life inspiration. Have a look at an actual gun. Look at your Nerf gun or your BB gun or your actual gun if you live in America. I don't know. And, or even just look at pictures. You don't have to have a real life one. And just sort of study it. Maybe there's one or two parts that you can look at and go, oh, actually, that looks a lot like this part. Or, hey, this gives me an idea. And just kind of shape it off that, you know? Kind of having a reference point to look at and to base stuff off is definitely a really helpful tool to kind of getting an idea of what you want. Because often that's how I work. I always need a good image in my head of what I'm specifically building. And once I have that image, I'm then able to make a head start. But it's a little bit more difficult for me when I'm building something and I don't have an overall image, because then I'm just sort of putting things together. And that's a little bit more difficult personally. But everyone works different. Everyone has a different creative process. So see what you can do, see what your creative process is. But I definitely think looking at real life inspiration or inspiration from video games, you know, building a gun from a video game might be a fun thing to do. So yeah, give it a go. Taking a look at not the gun, the actual mock Heartstopper. Really, really awesome head design up there using the Core Hunter mask and adding some minifigure hands in there, which apparently is a really cool connection. Look at that, who knew? And it looks awesome, and as we can see in this photo, it does move down. There's some really, really cool little connections there, and a really cool, compact, nice-looking design. Also really cool foot design there, just doesn't actually have feet, you know? I kind of get a vibe that maybe they can, this little girl can fly up and hover with them. They're little like jet. She's like a little robot girl or something. But I think that's really cool. I think it's really clever, really unique, awesome design. So the next mock we have is by EXX Trooper and is called Stormer Heavy. Really, really awesome gun design in this. I really like it. It uses a lot of Technic lift arms, which I think is really interesting. You know, the actual handle itself is some lift arms, and a lot of the sort of shape is kind of built off that sort of L lift arm at the back there. Yeah, create the overall shape and things like that. Also, there's been a lot of different sort of nozzle. Well, okay, for the nozzle, there's used a whole sort of bunch of extender pieces and things like that, and adding some wheels and other sort of barrel-shaped pieces, and all of it sort of forms together to create a, you know, quite a long barrel, because obviously he's got a really awesome Gatling gun, pew-pew, bang-bang, awesome thing, and it looks fantastic, and really cool to see a really big bulky mock with an even bigger, bulkier gun. I think that always works, is building the gun to kind of fit the mock. You wouldn't see well, maybe you would. I was going to say you wouldn't see a massive Gatling gun on a really tiny little Matoran dude, but maybe you would. Maybe that's his little gimmick. That's really cool. That's a really cool image. So yeah, you see how the gun can sort of represent the person. Because, it's kind of like that with swords and shields and things like that. In some way, they do reflect the person wielding it to some degree. So definitely kind of have a think about that. Also, again, cool to see a little system part in there. Really adds a nice little splash and interest. Does it really add splash? I just said that. I don't even know. What does that even mean? But yeah, I think it looks great. Also cool, the Stormer build itself is really, really awesome. Just a basic pure CCBS build. But it's cool how adding a really, really awesome gun to that makes this mock look even cooler. Some people might argue that it's not that custom, so maybe it's not as good. Personally, I think it looks fantastic. I think the really simple, nice build is a really cool upgrade for Stormer, because obviously this is essentially like a revamp of Stormer, making him bigger and bulkier and badass and like Rambo and stuff. So that's really cool. But I definitely think that that's a cool idea, is to give a mock a really big gun just to sort of add a lot of really cool flair and interest and stuff. It really, really adds a nice something. I don't know, whatever that is, that piece de resistance. It really, really, really helps. Really looks cool. So nice job, EXX Trooper. The final mock that we have today is by IGU and is called Custom Toxic Reapa. So again, another revamp. This is obviously a revamp of the old Hero Factory set, Toxic Reapa. Wow, I can say old about Hero Factory sets now. Oh, geez, that's terrifying. Anyway, there you go. So yeah, this is a revamp of Toxic Reapa. Just realized how cool that tail design is. That wasn't even in my notes to cover, but that's a really clever tail design, adding those tires there on the back. That's awesome. So let's look at the guns here. So this guy's got two really sick guns, and it's got this really cool dynamic where it kind of looks like, the ammo stock is the sort of little toxic barrel thing. So you kind of imagine, and especially with the nozzle of the gun, it kind of looks like it would fire some sort of plasma toxic waste sort of thing, which I think that's so cool because it's very fitting with the character. Toxic Reaper being this sort of acid spitting evil dude. I think that the gun really fits his original sort of character, personality, theme, all that sort of stuff. So it's really cool building a gun that reflects their personality in another way. It kind of covers their gimmick, if that's the right word to use. Also, really cool to see that sort of wire system piece there. Really, really kind of continues that theme of sort of being a sort of plasma chemical based gun. All the chemicals run through the tube there and up into the front and all that. So yeah, I think that's very clever and looks cool. Also, nothing cooler than having two guns. One gun's cool, but two's even cooler. So I really like that. I think that's awesome. And then Toxic Reaper looks like a badass wielding both of them. So I definitely think that's a really good idea, is to kind of, integrate those sort of things into it. Especially because those actual toxic barrel parts on the bottom of the gun there were actually pieces that actually came with Toxic Reaper, which, I mean, technically those are system parts, but I guess if it's in a Bionicle set, it kind of counts as a Bionicle piece. I don't really know. But that's really cool. Repurposing the barrels that used to be on his back and then putting them on the gun. Really clever. Really, really nice way to further expand the character. I think that's really cool. We have a bonus mock in this episode, and this is a mock that is simply called Gun and is by Nubu Tare. Really, really like this. This is a bit more of an interesting take on weaponry for a mock. Because the weaponry is the mock. This guy's essentially just used all these different pieces to get this really sort of steampunk vibe for a gun that obviously you could hold yourself and run around the house shooting people, but not literally. And I think that's really cool, especially because, in my opinion, a lot of these parts on here are pieces that I probably wouldn't really use. They're kind of big, cumbersome, not that great parts, but maybe you could use it in something. But I think that's really cool. It's kind of repurposing some parts that you maybe otherwise wouldn't use and then turning it into a really, really cool looking steampunk gun. I think that's awesome. Also really original to have a sort of more, I guess, kind of like a cosplay style weapon, Not everyone builds Lego or Bionicles in, that you can actually hold and use and wear and stuff, So actually making a whole like costume or a whole arsenal out of Lego guns and stuff. And maybe if you're a little bit more efficient with Technic, maybe you could actually have a firing mechanism. People have done that. Go look it up. I can't even wrap my head around that, but you could very easily have a firing mechanism, even if you just simply did some of the stud shooters or some of the actual little pew-pew laser things that Lego makes, because Lego has done a whole bunch of, like Zamaspheres and stuff, things that actually do fire. You could easily sort of work that into little sort of handheld gun for yourself. That might be a little fun thing to try. And then you can build two and have a little war with your friends. That might be fun. And that's essentially it for guns in this Bionicle Inspiration Series episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got a little bit inspired. Hopefully seeing some really cool stuff has made you go, ooh, I might try that on a mock myself. If you have any suggestions for future themes for the episode, either comment it below in the comments or check the links in the description, because in those links in said description, you can see all my social media, and there's various messaging platforms and things in there where you can chuck me a message, and then the mocks that you suggest or the themes you suggest may eventually become an episode or be in an episode, all that sort of thing. Also, in that description, be sure to check out the links to the mocks that you saw in today's episode, because those guys are very, very talented and they have a lot of really good mocks, so you should definitely check them out. That's essentially it. Thank you very much for watching. Get building and have a fantastic day.